On this second Super Bowl edition of Gameball NFL Endzone, we're going to recap both the AFC and NFC Championship games. And also in our second segment, we're going to talk about both of those games in respect to who was to blame for the Kansas City Chiefs' loss against the New England Patriots on Sunday. Also, did the New Orleans Saints get robbed? We're going to talk about that. And speaking of that same call, should the NFL be able to review pass interference calls? And who's more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots? Tom Brady, Bill Belichick? Maybe it's both of them. We'll talk about that. And of course, in our third segment, we're going to discuss the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about which teams have the most edge, starting with the offense, the defense. And we'll talk about that a little bit further. And of course, finally, all three members of Gameball Info Endzone is back together. Myself, Michael Riley, and Luke Hartnett are in the building, and we're weeks away from the Super Bowl. It's Gameball NFL Endzone, and it kicks off now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. I'm Marcus Young, Genius Jenkins.
It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett, making a return guest appearance. Call it whatever you want to call it. But
let's go.
Glad to be back.
All right.
24-sode.
And already what's crazy is this is already the second annual Super Bowl edition of this episode. And it seems like it wasn't very long ago that we actually did this. And then here we are again talking about the Super Bowl. So it shows you how far we've come. So definitely hats off to, and salute to both of y'all as well for being a part of, I guess, a milestone would be fair to say, and how far we've come since the first episode 2 years ago.
Yep.
But we're going to kick things off with, of course, we're going to recap the NFC and AFC Championship games. A lot of controversy. I'm pretty sure you guys know on social media there was a lot of talk about both of these games. It was fun talking with a lot of friends and talking about the Chiefs and the referees and so forth and so on. But we're going to start things off. We're going to recap the scores first, and then we'll jump into the games. First, of course, the Los Angeles Rams would defeat the New Orleans Saints by a score 26-23. The New England Patriots, of course, arguably, Mike says the game, maybe the best game of the year. That is definitely one to argue with. The New England Patriots would win 37-31. Now we're going to go back to the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints game. Of course, there was a controversial call. We'll get into that soon. Luke, I think it's only right since it's been a while. We should definitely kick this off to you first. What did you think about the Los Angeles Rams and Saints game and how they were able to advance to the Super Bowl?
I had a feeling the Saints were going to, might find themselves in a tight spot when they had to kick those two first quarter field goals, and they were, at least, with the offense like theirs, in touchdown range. They get up, 10-0 or especially 14-0 might be all she wrote. But Rams held them to a couple field goals. Some of the Saints finally did taste the sweet nectar of the end zone. They still was only a 13-point lead. It was still the first quarter too. So credit to Sean McVay and Jared Goff and the entire Rams organization for not letting it spiral out of control after that, and coming back and at least putting the game, to where they had a chance in the fourth quarter.
Well, you have to give a little bit of credit where credit's due to the Rams defense. They made adjustments compared to the last game that they played. They shut out Marcus Thomas, who's Michael Thomas, who's arguably one of the best receivers of the game, held them in check. Then they let Kamara make enough explosive plays as they normally do, and they held the running back duo in check of Ingram and Kamara, and it caused a lot of pressure on the Saints offensively, and their defense, give them credit, was due, but earlier part of that game, they was giving up easy plays to the Saints offense, and if you want to win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, you cannot make a mistake doing that, because if you do that to the Patriots, they're not turning into field goals. They're going for touchdowns, and we'll talk about that later. But overall, at the end, the Rams made more plays than the Saints to win that game out. And despite the despite the pass interference call, we'll get into that later. I felt like the Saints should have melted the clock down some before they passed the ball. Just keep milking the clock and let the Rams use their timeouts. Then you could probably take a little shot here and there. And some of the plays with Jason Hill, the kind of like option guy, whatever play call you want to call it, I thought Sean Payton was trying to get too cute of doing that little trickery plays here and there. I'm like, just keep the balls in Drew Brees' hands. No need for this halfback, quarterback, whatever you want to call it stuff, options or something like that going. So I felt like Sean Payton at times got too cute of doing that. If he would have stuck with Drew Brees, I felt like they would have won this game at the end and didn't have to come down to the pass interference call, which we'll talk about that more on the segment. But kudos to the Rams. They're in the Super Bowl.
All right, now, unfortunately, another heartbreaking loss for. I want to ask you both this, honestly. With the play that we're going to talk about in the second segment, which one would hurt the most? The Minnesota Miracle or this particular NFC title game?
This one. By far, this one. And we'll talk about that more later, because why did that have to be the deciding factor of that game? And if you really think about it, I don't think the Saints would ever overcome this, because it's just like, it's a very, very bad taste. I mean, losing sucks. If you're going to lose in the right way, not lose to a missed pass interference call. So I think, in my opinion, they ain't going to recover from it.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, they just made one of those, once in a generation plays that you're going to be talking about on NFL films for as long as they'll be talking about the immaculate reception, and so on and so forth. They've all the great plays, football lore. So but I don't know. A little foreshadowing. The Super Bowl is going to be played in Atlanta in a dome, and the end of that Saints game was the last play of the game that nobody's talking about. Zierlein, he hit that from 57 yards, and the ball hit the net. Like, he didn't just clear the crossbar. So if it's crunch time, fourth quarter, overtime of the Super Bowl, Rams basically just have to get to about the 50-yard line to have a realistic chance of tying or winning the game. Just a little foreshadowing.
And a 47-yard before that to send it into overtime to begin with. So, I mean, that's impressive.
It looked like he missed it when it left his foot.
Yeah, that's very impressive. And, I mean, of course, a side note, your boy Drew Brees is already saying that he's ready to try to make another run at it. So we'll see if the Saints can get over that hump going into next season. The second game, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs would fall short to the New England Patriots by a score of 37-31. Talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and let you go first. But I tell you what you both have to agree, it seems like that was the life story of the Kansas City Chiefs this season. Is just that one defensive mistake that would cost them a game. It seemed like it did that to them twice against the Patriots in the regular season. The Rams, same thing when they couldn't come down with that interception on Jared Goff. You can kind of say the same thing about the Chargers. It just seems like that defense, just that one, they were always that one play away from victory. I'm going to go ahead and send this to you and talk about this game. How was New England able to overcome the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime?
All right, it's on me? I thought it was on me. Oh, okay. First off, Ric Flair on him. Ric Flair on him. Woo! If you can smell what the Patriots are cooking.
And the rest.
Because all jokes aside, the Patriots were not playing from start to finish. And they had their backs against the wall. You hear all the criticism all season. Tom Brady's too old. The receivers are too slow. No skilled players. The defense can't do blah and say all of that. But what happened the first half of that game yesterday? I didn't expect that at all, to hold the Chiefs offense scoreless in the first half. That is a brilliance to Bill Belichick's genius and knowledge to how to collapse the pocket against Patrick Mahomes. And most coordinators or teams of the defensive side wouldn't even do it. Belichick's like, oh yeah? Bet you I'll do it. And he shook up Patrick Mahomes, and they sacked him 4 times to compare to the first game where they didn't really touch him. This game, they just came at Mahomes with everything they got. And this is why I tell you why you want to blitz Patrick Mahomes in the middle and create some stunts and all that. This is why the Baltimore Ravens were good at it, but they didn't finish. This is why the Chargers were good at it, and they won. And this is why the Patriots, who originally opened the recipe success to slow down the Chiefs' offense, did it again. Because one thing you saw from Kyle Van Noy, he was standing up, and you can see he was playing a 3-down lineman. Then all they had to do was stand up and just stunt, go crisscross up the middle and clog up the middle. Because if you clog it up and bring everybody in one, then you have a chance. Instead of they're playing cover 0 with the base 2 press coverage on that. What the base 2 press coverage is like you have a deep free safety cave in the middle this way to compare last time what they went against Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill flew by. But what this time is, say like if you're Tyreek Hill and Luke was the safety, Luke would come in this way forward and move downfield backward to keep you contained with that double team. And I think the Patriots did a good job. They held Tyreek Hill in check, except for that one big play. That's all he had was that one catch. And Travis Kelce, after that touchdown, he only had 3 catches for almost 30 yards. So that was impressive. To shut down you 2 primary targets for the triplets of that offense, kudos. I mean, how can you script that up? And that game 2 went on the road, the loudest place in the stadium in the NFL, the toughest place to place and get a win. So kudos to that. But the second half, Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. He scored 24 points in fourth quarter within 3 minutes. So you know they ain't gonna go down the fight. But I think it comes down to the brilliance of Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, coming up creative plays, especially running game, to run down the Chiefs' throats. And the time of possession was not even close. It was 48 minutes compared to 20 minutes. And the first quarter, the Patriots used 8 minutes off the clock to keep the Chiefs offense on the sideline and score a touchdown. That is a recipe for a win. To do that, you have to control the clock. You have to play time of possession against a very good offense in the Kansas City Chiefs. But if I'm the Chiefs, I would not hold my head down. I will hold my head up high, because you have a bright future and you could win 2 or 3 Super Bowls. But next year, you got to re-sign Tyreek Hill. That is a must, because he's expected to become a free agent. And they're talking about giving Patrick Mahomes the richest contract. Yeah, that's all fine, but would you have him without Tyreek Hill? Because Tyreek Hill makes that offense go. I mean, Travis Kelce, he does his thing here and there, but Tyreek Hill is a game changer. Because all it does is that one big play, he can sneak in by you without you even notice. So that is a must. If I'm the Chiefs, I would fire Bob Sutton, defensive coordinator, because why you did not change it up and make it hard for Brady? Double cover Julian Edelman, double cover James White. You can't play soft zone coverage. You had to play press man cover 2 and just make the receivers work. But he just kept doing it. So he has to go. Then I'll get to the D4 later. But overall, Patriots is going back to the Super Bowl, and when they won the coin toss in overtime, you already knew what's going down after they said heads, and they let everybody know, heads, we want the ball. When Tom Brady gets the ball overtime, you know it's going to be over. So it was an excellent game. This is probably the game of the century. This is like the best game ever. It's like number one all time in my opinion. It was a hell of a game, but Patriots did not beat themselves like Kansas City did, and it cost Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl.
Luke, do you agree with that, or how did you see this Patriots-Chiefs matchup?
Well, after everything Mike said there, I mean, the Chiefs are still D Ford lining up on sides from going to the Super Bowl. So, or, winning the coin toss. But just a few things to point out. The two teams were, they both won their divisions. The AFC West plays the AFC South next year. So the Chiefs will be looking at, going to be some fun non-division games for the Chiefs next year. Going to be looking at Houston, Jacksonville, Colts, the Titans.
Yeah.
But they'll also be playing the Ravens because they both won the division, and they'll be playing Patriots because, again, division champs. So I want to highlight the Patriots game because in 4 quarters of first half action this year, they scored 9 points, 0 at home. They scored 31 points per half. Week 6 in the AFC Championship, they scored 31 points each. So they basically outscored themselves 62-9 second half to first half. So they play the Patriots next year. They got to. I mean, they were, a good example of that yesterday too. Mahomes missed a wide open Williams on the wheel route there. In field goal range, Mahomes takes the sack. They forced a punt. So I believe those were separate possessions.
Yes, they were.
So those are separate possessions. So they could have been. They would have been of at least 10 points right there that they could have got by first half. So of course, while we're playing the ifs and buts game, they don't pick Brady up in the end zone either. They're down 21-0 presumably. So I mean, it depends on which microscope you want to look through on this. But I keep thinking about he mentioned the Chiefs getting rid of Sutton there. I think a team that was in a lot of turmoil last year was the Seattle Seahawks, and they missed the playoffs for the first time in Russell Wilson's career. So as a result of missing the playoffs, Darrell Bevell out at offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer in, Chris Richard. He wasn't necessarily out. He just took the job in Dallas. He's got that Dallas D humming too. Mm-hmm. But Ken Norton Jr. was the linebackers coach when the Seahawks went to back-to-back Super Bowls. He's back in. Tom Cable on offensive line. They had one of the worst offensive lines, probably in NFL history the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Out. They got Mike Solari, the former Kansas City Chiefs offensive line coach. He was in there, and they weren't exactly a great offensive line. They did lead the league in rushing by almost 30 yards per game, more than the number 2, team Houston did as far as running the football goes. So sometimes it hurts, but Seattle really benefited from missing the playoffs last year. I think Kansas City, in a similar, if they choose that approach, can really benefit from losing the AFC Championship. Because if they win the game yesterday, you're not going to go to the Super Bowl and fire your defensive coordinator.
Right. That's true.
You're not. Yeah. You're not going to fire anybody if you go to the Super Bowl. Mm. So and they did get a second crack at the Rams, and who knows what would happen there. So, but I think it could be addition by subtraction right there. Now, another thing that I think, if they do pull the plug on Bob Sutton, I think they will. If you're like a top-tier defensive coordinator, like Chris Richard, who's trying to get a head coaching job actually, and best of luck to him on that. But if you're a top-tier defensive coordinator, you know that Kansas City's getting you probably 30 points. Uh-huh. So if you can put together a defense that can only give up 21 to 24 points per game, like how do you not want to be a DC for a team that's as lit as lit on offense as Kansas City is? Because it's not like the old Buccaneer teams with Warren Sapp where, hey, get us 2 touchdowns and we'll win. They're getting you 4 or 5 touchdowns. So like if I'm a top-notch defensive coordinator, I'm want to take that challenge. They have some parts. They have some pieces. D Ford's a good player. Eric Berry should be healthy, you know, going to the training camp or whatever else. Same for Justin Houston. Who knows what happened with Earl Thomas? Apparently, he was all set to get traded there. Was going to get traded there after, you know, the game. If he doesn't get hurt against the Cardinals in Week 4, I believe he was going to be a Chief that like a day or two later. So, but they got some parts. So if you're like a top-notch defensive coordinator, would you rather be, you know, coordinating a defense on a team that's getting you 30 points a game or half that? So,
all right, 2 good points. And for Kansas City Chiefs fans, I also want to just say this really quickly. And this is what I think is amazing. And I don't think anybody really understands how good Patrick Mahomes is. And it's not to take away anything, but I never really paid attention. And I'll admit, we live in Pac-12 country. And I don't remember watching games. He even came to Lawrence when he was with Texas Tech. If you watch his highlights in college, he's been doing this. All the things that, you know, me and you debated about this and ways to stop Patrick Mahomes, he's been making defenses look foolish. If you watch his highlights, he's doing things, including Tom Brady, that
he threw for 800 yards against Oklahoma. That's not an exaggeration either. He threw for over 800 yards in a game against Oklahoma.
Right. And the thing is, like, the things that he's doing, most quarterbacks, first of all, he's finding people in ways that no other quarterback can do. He's making plays and he's making throws that nobody else can really make, and shotgun plays or long distance bombs. He's watching this. If you watch his highlights, most quarterbacks have to set up in a shotgun, take a few steps back, get their body position and throw it. Yes, and the thing is, and he's just sitting there calm and relaxed and just tossing it, and it's accurate. Where I'm going with this is, and tell me if I'm wrong, I even posted it on Facebook. I say this in the impact that Patrick Mahomes has not only had on the Kansas City Chiefs, but the NFL. I said this, that he is the Steph Curry coming of the NFL. Who do you know before Steph Curry got to Golden State, in the state of Kansas or anywhere that was shouting out Golden State this, wearing Golden State jerseys, this, that, and the third. What Patrick Mahomes has done for the game of football, he's having people watch him week in and week out. He's had so much hype and he's lived up to it, and he's so excited that he has people in places that a year ago with Alex Smith as quarterback wearing Chiefs jerseys and rooting for the Chiefs. What I'm saying is he's going to have that impact to where there is already building a following of the Kansas City Chiefs. Of all teams in the NFL, people are finally starting to notice and people are actually excited to watch him. And to see him grow into what he can be moving forward, to me, it's going to be exciting. Well, but that's just something I want to point out.
In the Big 12, that conference that he was in, he was good, but he didn't have a defense at Texas Tech either.
Goodness, no, he didn't.
And same thing with the Chiefs. He has the Chiefs the best offense, but with that defense, can you win the Super Bowl? No. So they have to find a way to give him a defense.
Patriot killer for the Chiefs since he's been in the league was Kareem Hunt too, and I think they really used him in the first half of that game yesterday.
Yes.
Now, I mean, again, they only scored the 9 points in the first half of Week 6 against them, but you look at what he did Week 1 last year, and then we know that at least in the second half of Week 6 this past year, you'd have to think that maybe Kareem Hunt could have been, you know, he would have had a positive impact at one time or another.
If Kareem Hunt was playing, the Chiefs would be in the Super Bowl, to be honest with you right now. But what he did basically killed their Super Bowl chances.
And not to take away anything from Damian Williams, though, either.
Not to take anything from Williams, but Kareem Hunt, it's a different type of breed. And with a different type of breed, a talented player did what he did, and it cost the Chiefs their season.
And point out also, speaking of Kareem Hunt, apparently he'll definitely be back in the NFL sooner rather than later. Apparently there's a lot of teams, including the Chicago Bears, that have stressed interest to him. So, I mean, speaking on that, I mean, I really, hope, and I do give him credit because he took the time himself to correct himself, taking anger management classes. He's the one that chose to do that interview for ESPN, and that's a different topic, and we can get into that like another time, obviously, and we can go on and on about that. I agree with you. And even you said that, we talked about that last week. Yeah, that was an X factor that really could have made a difference as well. But the Chiefs were still good enough to make it to the Super Bowl. A false start on the offense away, or a bad lineup away from a Super Bowl. But We're going to continue to talk about both the Saints and the Rams and the Chiefs and the Patriots. In the second segment, we're going to talk about who was to blame for the Kansas City Chiefs loss. Also, did the New Orleans Saints get robbed? I'm pretty sure most people would probably say that was probably a fact. Also, should the NFL be able to review pass interference calls? And also, who is more responsible for the success of the Patriots dynasty? Is it Bill Belichick? Is it Pat Brady? Stick around. We'll discuss that and a lot more. We're just getting started. Gameball NFL Endzone returns in a moment.
Don't go away. Stay tuned. We got our man Lukey Luke back, and we're just getting warmed up.
Yes, sir. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Now in our second segment, we're going to continue to talk about the AFC and NFC Championship games to a certain degree, starting with the Kansas City Chiefs. Luke, I want to send this to you first. Who was to blame for the Kansas City Chiefs loss, in your opinion?
I'm going to go first and foremost D Ford. I mean, I think that's just a little too ripe right there. I mean, just more so because of the end result of the play there. Because even if the Chiefs don't, intercept, without the penalty, it's going to be 4th and 10. So where it gave them, again, even if they don't intercept, it would have been 3rd and 5 regardless, which ultimately they cashed in on. Number 2, I'm going to go with I believe it was a 3rd and 10 when they got Chris Jones for the phantom roughing the quarterback call. So I'm going to take a little shot at the refs on that one. And number 3, I'm going to blame basically the NFL playoff overtime rules. Congratulations to the Patriots on their top of the 10th victory yesterday. And 4th, and perhaps most importantly, Tom Brady. So blaming Tom Brady for the Chiefs losing yesterday.
Speaking of the referees, I'm going to say this. For the Patriots game and the Rams game, this was them in the clubs after that. They was cashing in a little bit. Now I'm just playing, but Mike, I want to send this to you. Who do you agree with Luke, or do you see things differently?
I agree, but I'm gonna do a little different. First, I'm gonna have to say defensive coordinator Bob Sutton, because why are you calling plays against Tom Brady? He's seen it thousands of the time. He basically goes to sleep and prepares in his dreams. Like, how can I pick off Bob Sutton? Julian Edelman. And kudos to Tony Romo. He flat out called it. He predicted to what the Patriots are going to do. If Gronkowski is lined up one side, it's going to let Julian Edelman over here, this little rug route. What happened? Julian Edelman on the rug route. If you pull out Gronkowski in the wide, he's going to run the slant. Kudos to Tony Romo for calling an excellent game. First off, I have to say, Bob Sutton, defensive coordinator. Now, with the overtime rules, I disagree on that, because they put that rule in to protect the player's safety. And defensively, you get paid a lot of money to stop the offense. When the Saints got the coin toss, was it an automatic score? No. They got a turnover interception because the defense made the play and the offense put in position to be in field goal range, and the kicker kicked the field goal. So I disagree with you on that, respectfully disagree on the overtime rules. It's just leave it alone. It's the way it is. If the defense can't stop it, boo-hoo, whatever. And you should have made the stop, and don't gripe and cry about the overtime rules. I like it where it is. Just leave it alone. And the main person who is to blame, I'm going to piggyback off his ride, is D Ford. And I'm going to go then some. Because if you're D Ford, you know better not to line up in a neutral zone fraction. You have been with the Chiefs 5 seasons. You know better. You don't do that. Seasoned veterans, most likely 9 times out of 10, they don't make that mistake. In the critical moment, and when they show his head and his hand were clearly over, I'm like, that's right in front of the referee. You basically gave the Patriots a free, Christmas gift. It was all sides on that. And to take it further, I wouldn't re-sign D Ford back to the Chiefs, be honest with you, because the first couple of years of his career was up and down, and he was dealing with injuries. And then he's came along the way. He's good, but when you give big money to him, is he going to be the D Ford that continues to play with expectations and plays good and all that? And plus, there's a report that Patrick Mahomes is supposed to get a big contract after this season of the 2019 coming up. So how you going to fit that with the Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill as well? And in my opinion, I told this a couple people talked to a couple Chiefs fans last night about this. It hates me to say it, but I think they should let Eric Berry go because he's supposed to have another Achilles heel surgery, and I don't think he'll be the same again because he wasn't that dominant safety like he used to be. When he had that Achilles tear injury, that was a big deal because he was the heart and soul of that secondary. He made sure everybody was lined up, and he was balling. And Gronk if Eric Berry was 100%, Gronk will not be able to make that place because Eric Berry's a good player like that, and I have high respect for him. But I think it's time for the Chiefs to let him go because he's going to have a second Achilles heel injury surgery, and is he going to come back from it? I don't know. And if he brought up, if I were the Chiefs, I would go after Earl Thomas than Eric Berry, if you really be honest.
That's an interesting debate, honestly, because Earl Thomas is a pretty good player.
They won't let Eric Berry go, though, because he's under contract at least through the next this upcoming year.
Right.
And releasing him, it doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than, you don't say, you say minimal cap space at most, number one. Number two, he's the smartest guy on the team, at least football-wise.
I understand that, but if you have 2 Achilles heel surgeries, you're not going to be the same again. And I mean, give courage to him. He tried to play and duke it out, but at the same time, is he the Eric Berry like he once were? No, I'm gonna have to say it.
And with little trade value, you're really not doing much to let him go either. I do think next year will be his last year there, though.
All right.
I said, Mike, get from him while you can now, because his last year of his contract, you're not really going to get nothing for him because of the injury history and all that. So if I'm gonna go after it now and try at least get some trade value for him.
Yes, I agree with you guys, D Ford, and pretty much the entire country right now was basically all in agreement with that, and that is there's no excuse for that. Like, that literally cost the Chiefs a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Like, you can't say anything past that. But another interesting thing that they were even talking about, I was reading on ESPN, is they were talking about the Chiefs need to re-sign D Ford because he is a talented player. Did he make a mistake? Yes. A costly mistake? Yes. How's he going to respond from that? Will be interesting to see. But they were also talking about maybe, do you re-sign Justin Houston, or do you let some of those younger draft picks on defense come in and try to fill that role and get that experience for younger players? Of course, as Justin Houston is getting a little bit older.
Well, Justin Houston is locked up, but I'd rather trust Justin Houston over D Ford because Justin Houston still can play the game. And he is one of the NFL's most sack rusher in the game today. He's not like Von Miller, those guys, but precise, consistency. But he just ran to the wall with the Patriots, and they couldn't get to Tom Brady.
They got to get better linebackers. Their linebacker play is like really the Achilles heel of that team.
That is true. Ragland, I do not trust him. And Hitchens, he makes a case that he could stay another year or two because he's earned it. But Ragland, I'll cut bait with him.
All right. Yeah, it is a heartbreaking loss for the Kansas City Chiefs because it's literally a whistle. You were literally a whistle away from the Super Bowl. That's literally what it comes down to. I mean, we can talk in how Belichick did this and how Brady did this and how Mahomes did this and how, the Chiefs did this. But literally what it comes down to is one call. One call could have made a difference. And not to take away anything from the Patriots. They're a great team. They've proven that for years and years and years. So, I mean, definitely not to take away anything.
I thought Dan Sorensen was really the Chiefs MVP on defense yesterday. He played lights out.
Yeah,
Sorensen played very well.
Yeah, he played lights out. He was there where he's supposed to need to be, but D4 can't get over it.
All right, we'll see if he comes back the same. Is he built for tough? Or
Nice word play. Nice word play.
If this messes with him mentally when it's said and done. Moving on to the NFC Championship game, Mike, I'm going to kick this over to you first. Did the New Orleans Saints get robbed?
Of course, without a question of the doubt, they got robbed. They got hosed. They got their Super Bowl life snatched out of their hearts yesterday. I'm like, really? Really? That everybody was bugging. Twitter was going crazy. It was just like insanity of itself. The commentators for the Fox was calling it, the crew and all that. Troy Aikman, Joe Buck and the crew. And you had the Saints radio sports broadcast was calling it, was like, wow. I was like, no PI. Or a helmet-to-helmet hit in the head defenseless receiver. One of those two calls, I'm like, even Mike Pereira went off. He's like, the referee commentary, he was like, that is disgusting. That should have been a first and goal, and Saints are in the Super Bowl. And not to take anything away from the Rams, but technically, you got an asterisk on that win. If we're going to be honest here, do you put an asterisk by it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you escaped. You got one. You got a freebie. Let's.
I agree with you can say all the other things that the Saints should have did better, this and this and that, but why does the game have to rely on a worse non-call pass interference or defenseless receiver? Inexcusable, point blank period, and NFL has lost more credibility now because you had with the domestic violence situation with Ray Rice and Kareem Hunt. Then you had the protests and all this other stuff going on, and now this jumps in your lap. It's just like credibility just goes down and down and down and down. So we'll talk about it on the next part, but they need to fix this soon and quick in a hurry. And you do not want the Super Bowl to come down to this. If the Super Bowl comes down to this, the NFL's credibility is going down the drain.
I mean, I agree with that just because it does take away from the excitement of that game, and it was a good game. And it's unfortunate. And does that seem like that's kind of the theme? And that was kind of like the theme last season also, a non-call, or because of a blown call from a ref, it takes away from the game and it costs someone. And I could imagine how hard it is to even bounce back knowing it wasn't your fault that you lost the game, but it's in somebody else's hands that's not even playing on the field. It's an official.
Egregious.
Yeah.
It's atrocious.
Luke, do you second Mike's opinion, and did the Saints get robbed?
It's hard to say. I mean, say you're creating such a slippery slope no matter which way you go on it. I mean, I think a start would be inside of 2 minutes in overtime, and so it wouldn't be a challengeable review, and I think it'd have to be a booth review from upstairs. Number one. Number two, I don't know. I mean, the Saints were playing the Cowboys in the regular season, and there was a helmet-to-helmet on Kamara that wasn't called either. So I think helmet-to-helmet hits should be reviewable at any point in the game. and then maybe the pass interference within, inside of 2 minutes. But the thing is, if you start reviewing pass interference calls, that's just one more advantage you give to the offense when they're already, like that Chiefs-Rams game. I mean, you're going to see, 54, 51 games, on a somewhat regular basis. So, I mean, at some point you have to let the defensive backs play, and at some point you have to expect to, accept human error too. But I don't. I mean, it's just so hard to say on such a poorly. I mean, you just don't see calls that poorly missed.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't. Like going to the Chiefs game with the roughing the quarterback call on Brady there. It's like we only question the roughing the quarterback calls where they throw the flag. If they don't throw a flag there, nobody's asking for one. Nobody. So it's like I said, it's an awfully slippery slope if you start challenging pass interference calls. But helmet to helmet should be reviewable though, because he did hit a face mask to face mask actually.
And I felt if one of those calls would have been made, the Saints was in the Super Bowl automatic because they were at 1st and goal.
Now the Saints did kind of mess up throwing on first down though too. They don't throw on first down; they're probably not in that situation either.
I understand that, and you don't want to leave it to the referee's hands. But come on, it's obvious. Why did they call that? That is, the Saints are basically at the goal, at the red zone, at the goal line. All they would have do was punch it in. It would have been game over. And not to take anything from the Rams, it's an asterisk. I'm putting an asterisk on it. You got there because of that. And I'm going to be brutally honest. And it is what it is. If I'm going to take some heat for it, okay, whatever. But I'm going to say it like I say it.
I'm pretty confident that you're not the only one that feels that way. I would probably say there's many people out there that feel that same way because, that's probably one of the worst calls in playoff history. And the fact is, these referees are getting paid, and they were selected to officiate these games out of numerous people, and then you make something so obvious and you blow it. And then what's worse is when Sean Payton even said that the referee admitted to his face that he blew that. The fact that you even say that after the game is over and you're talking to the person that you sent home because of your call, though,
and he said he had called the NFL and all that. They said they knew they screwed up, so.
The guy's name is slipping me, but the ref that threw the flag played for the Rams back in '81.
Yep, and that's the same. And the other referee went.
There you go.
And the other referee went to UCLA.
Yeah, go.
Both from LA.
Go. That's a good one to bring up. I forgot about that.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Don't shoot the messenger. Speaking of the Saints, we're going to stay on that topic. Should the NFL be able to review, Luke, I'm going to start with you first. Should they be able to review pass interference calls?
No, because if the defensive back looks back for the football yesterday, that's pretty much all he has to do. I'm more concerned about the helmet to helmet. If the NFL is really serious about player safety, and Mike and I watched a couple of preseason games this year, they throw all those good form tackles. They're throwing, 15-yard penalties on, right? The way you teach it, the way you coach it, guys are making tackles like that in the preseason. They're throwing flags though anyway. In the preseason, get the players used to the rule change, so on and so forth. If pass interference doesn't jeopardize anybody's health, okay? That's every game, every play. But helmet to helmet, if they want to be, I'm more outraged by the helmet to helmet being missed than the pass interference, which is on the same play, obviously. But don't tell us you're concerned about player safety and then not do something about helmet to helmet hits, not drawing a flag.
Well, I would say it should be not only reviewable, you should be able to challenge. But not every play, just like inside the 2-minute warning of the first half, before the 2-minute warning, you get challenged. Then inside the 2-minute warning in the first half, you can review it. And same thing for the second half, between the 2 minutes and under 2 minutes. So I'm good with that. As long as it's close to the 2-minute mark, you get challenged, or is review inside the 2-minute mark. So I'm good with that because, like I was saying, you can't leave it to a referee's hand to not make that call and all that. So everybody's outraged and all that. And I'm for it, to be reviewed and challenged, but only within 2 minutes before the 2-minute warning, or inside the 2-minute warning. You have a booth review for the first half and the second half. So I'm good with that, because it's you giving it a fair. It's not like every ticky-tacky call. It's just like fair point. Before just a little bit before 2 minutes, you can challenge, and inside the 2-minute mark for the first half and the second half. So I'm good with that under those circumstances.
If you think about it, the very definition of what a defensive back does, especially a corner on a pass play, is to interfere the receiver from catching the ball. That's why the defensive back is lined up across from the receiver. You're the receiver. I'm the defensive back. You run the route, the pass comes, I get the hand up, flick the ball away. By the letter of the law, didn't I just interfere with you catching the ball?
Right.
By getting the hand? I don't say it's a textbook play, but the primary purpose of what a defensive back does on a pass play is to interfere with the receiver catching the ball.
But
that's why you're covering him.
I know, but was it before the ball was in his hand? Absolutely. It could go either way. And plus the helmet call, of course, blatantly. But I agree with your points, but was it thrown before or was it thrown after? That's where I kind of separate myself from you a little bit on that part. But I agree with you what you say on it, but is it going to be before the throw or after when it's thrown? So it's like up in the air, ticky-tacky on that part. But
if we're challenging if we're challenging pass interference, the receiver's not off the hook on this either. So are we going to start challenging offensive interference now too?
You challenge that too. Might as well bring that to the table.
That's a good point.
So I'm all for it under those circumstances, like I was saying. But let's say if it's like 2 minutes and 10 seconds, you could challenge. That's before the 2-minute warning, and inside the 2-minute warning, a booth review. So I'm good on those terms for the first half and the second half of those 2-minute terms.
I'm agreeing with both of you guys. I think they're both valid points. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I mean that play, just going back to it, I think it's going to definitely bring up a lot of meetings during this off season as far as rule changes. I think. Now, one thing I do want to ask you, Luke, I'm going to start with you on this one. I just kind of gently jump into this one first, but of course the final question of the segment is, who is more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? If I may say really quickly, I kind of feel like in a way, could you imagine if Tom Brady may have played for a different team? Would he have been the same? I feel like, in my opinion, I think they both deserve credit, but I feel like more than anything, I think Belichick kind of deserves a lot more of the credit, because I feel like he's the one that kind of groomed Tom Brady into the player that he is. Because could you imagine, what if Peyton Manning played for Belichick? Could you imagine if Peyton Manning played for Belichick?
Not even close.
Or Drew Brees played for Bill Belichick and he was a Patriot?
Not even close.
I mean, I'm just saying, to a degree, I'm going to say Bill Belichick deserves a little bit more credit because...
So what is your percentage-wise? Break it down percentage.
I'm going to say at 100%, I'm going to say 60 Belichick, 40 Brady, because he molded Brady. He's the reason for Brady. In a lot of ways, he created that. Because think about it, when Tom Brady first came into the league, that team was tailor-made for Drew Bledsoe. So would they have still won that if Drew Bledsoe was still healthy? Would we have even known how good Tom Brady is? And the thing is, that rookie season, he didn't play that well.
Was his second season.
Or his second season. He didn't play that well, but he did enough to lead him to that Super Bowl. Tom Brady has always been equipped with weapons. He's always been equipped with a great offensive line. I don't know if Tom Brady, if he played for San Francisco, if he played for the Browns, I don't think he's as good if he was a different team.
If you talk about weapons, Tom Brady's never had what Peyton Manning's had. Tom Brady's never had what Aaron Rodgers has.
Peyton Manning never had Randy Moss, though, either.
That was for that 1 year.
Peyton Manning's never had the greatest offensive lines either. How many games have you watched of Tom Brady where he could take 10 seconds to watch and survey?
Well, Peyton Manning always had the greatest ever, but Tom Brady, he's just like, okay, give me the guys, I'm going to go work with him, and we'll go make magic. He'll take an average player and make him to a good player where he needs to be at. So, If you really think about it, I was just saying that point of perspective, but go ahead on your part.
I got to go all Belichick on this one. We saw him go 11-5 with Matt Castle. Then just a few years ago, 3-1 in Brady's suspension there.
That's true.
Then how many? I'm going to give Bill O'Brien a bit of a pass. He really did a lot at Penn State after Joe Paterno got fired, and he had the Houston Texans in the playoffs this year. So, but to the exception of Bill O'Brien, how many other Belichick assistants really panned out?
But what would your percentage be like for Belichick and Brady? Are you going in with
I'm going to go 90% Belichick on this one. No, Brady's not chopped liver by any means. He did win an Orange Bowl at Michigan over Alabama. And Alabama team that had Sean Alexander, no less. So it's not like Tom Brady was going to be a forgotten cause. But
so you're saying you said 90-10?
Yes,
90,
yes. You
10?
ask anybody that's part of the hopefully we get a chance to catch up with Tom Keegan again someday. He's now part of the working for the Boston media now. But you ask anybody that's been there, over the Brady-Belichick era, and they'll tell you that Belichick has his fingerprints on that program, that franchise. Programs for college. Just fun fact.
You can still use program,
He makes all the decisions as far as who the assistants are. He's in charge of draft day there. He's more or less in charge of Robert Kraft to an extent. Belichick, he is the puppet master. Brady's just a really, really good puppet.
Well, I was just kind of a little in a slump here, just like fighting it. I was leaning towards your 60-40, but after what I saw last night, I'm going to have to go to a complete draw. 50-50. One could done without the other, and the other could done out with one. Now, with Belichick, a certain degree, hit overall geniuses, even though he had some not as success in Cleveland as he did. But when he got with the Patriots and all that, and he basically created a system to be successful for a long time. It's like Belichick is like Bruce Lee Shaolin Temple Master, and Tom Brady is the Bruce Lee of the NFL. Because if you really think about it, the master teaching the student, use your illusions to break the enemy. Once the enemy sees the images of what you can do, then you can break them and defeat them. Remember the Inner Dragon quote? That mirror, the greatest movie of all time. And that's what the Patriots did against the Chargers and the Chiefs. They found their weakness through their images and through that wall. And what they found it and they cracked it and beat them. And you could say for Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's been in these situations long enough than anybody. And they brought out a good stat. A lot of Patriots players with experience at the AFC Championship compared to Chiefs, none. That was a remarkable number of experience in AFC Championship games. I was just like, wow. So, and Tom Brady, and his accomplishments, all that. He's not the greatest all talent, I say that, but when it comes time to play ball, and when you need a leader to lead the troops down into the war of an enemy territory, and it's just like everybody listens. Like Tom Brady's like, I got your back if you got mine. And you want that leader, you want that dog, you want that dude to be like, let's go out there and win the damn game and all this other stuff. And he puts his team on his shoulders to where he can get him in a good position. And that's why, and you would never see another 6th-round quarterback do this again in the NFL once Tom Brady retires. You would never see a 6th-round draft pick could potentially win 6 Super Bowls and be the greatest ever of all time. So you could say part Belichick, you could say part Brady. So I'm going to split and say 50-50 because one can do without the other and the other can do without the one, vice versa. So, and Belichick has a good coaching staff to put the players in to be the position, and the players execute without Tom Brady. So you could say one up here and one up here. With me, I'm going to go to the draw. I'm going to say 50-50.
I like your points. I like your points as well. But, I almost want to, in a way, if you really think about it, I almost want to give more credit to Belichick because if you think about all the players that have failed in other systems, but for some reason, when they go play for Belichick, he uses your talents and he knows how to he brings out the best in you. And that's what I feel like he did with Tom Brady. I don't think another coach would have been able to do with what Tom Brady. And that's why I'm saying, if Tom Brady played for another team, he's not as good. He would be a good quarterback. But like I said, if he played for San Francisco, if he played for the Browns, if he played for the Jets, if he played for the Giants, if he played for any other team, I don't think he's as successful. And I mean, the reason why I say Belichick more is because how many outside of Albert, what was the defensive player for the Redskins, Albert Hainsworth. The only one that didn't pan out, that was his fault. Yeah. That was all his fault.
And good thing you brought that up. And yeah, I'd say that was one of the bad moves that Belichick made, and he admitted it. And he was like, you know what, we're just gonna do this and do that, and it worked.
Now, Belichick knows quarterbacks, so I mean, he got Matt Castle in the 7th round when Castle hadn't started a game since high school. And after Castle won 11-5 to 1 year with the Patriots, technically 10-5. I guess that first game where Brady got hurt, starting quarterback does get the win. Does get the result of the win or the loss there. More of a fun fact out here in a minute. But he had an MVP caliber season in Kansas City. The year they lost to Baltimore in the first round of the playoffs there. He had I think 33 touchdowns and 7 picks. And then we saw Garoppolo go 5-0 for the Niners last year. But a fun fact about a quarterback wearing a win or a loss. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, Sunday Night Football, Carolina was at Seattle. And remember Cam Newton did not get the start.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, something about a dress code violation or something. Derek Anderson comes in, first play of the game. Pick 6, Seattle the other way. It's the only play of the game that Derek Anderson took, right? Cam Newton did not get a win or a loss that game. That goes as a loss towards Derek Anderson's. Just a little fun fact out there, a little fun football fact. So I don't know what Derek Anderson's all-time win-loss record in the NFL is, but he unfortunately has to wear the loss against Seattle that Sunday night because he was out there. He was the starting quarterback.
Facts.
So Matt Castle technically went 10-5 in 2008, while Tom Brady went 1-0.
That's actually a good stat. That's actually a good point.
I agree with both your points, but to me, after Sunday night's performance, at first I was leaning towards you in the 60-40, but after what I saw at Sunday night, it's a draw, 50-50. And I evenly give him respect because one out the other and the one way out the other, you could say vice versa. And this debate would never go away. And that's why it's so fun to talk about.
Absolutely.
So,
those first 3 Super Bowls the Patriots won with more of a defensive team though anyway.
I understand that. But
Bruschi and Harrison and company.
Yeah.
But I understand that, but he did win the first 2 MVPs, though. Just not forget about that. But I'm not taking the dang way you saying, but I'm just saying one could make without the other, and the other could make out with the one. So that led me to a draw. It's 50-50.
You know what their relationship reminds me of? Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant. Because let's be honest. Those times in which Kobe Bryant defeated the Boston Celtics and won those 2 championships, and the other one against the Orlando Magic. Kobe Bryant, and I still don't understand why he still doesn't get enough credit. I mean, we talk about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, but why is he not kind of at least squeezed in the middle in there somewhere? But that's a different topic. But Phil Jackson was part of the reason why the Lakers won those 2 championships when he got Pau Gasol Medal of World Peace. But at the same time, he needed Kobe. Because if you don't have Kobe, you don't win those championships. But at the same time, without Phil Jackson, Kobe probably wouldn't have won those championships. I kind of feel like they have that same kind of relationship to a certain degree.
Exactly.
So I think both of y'all had outstanding points. So, I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Drew Bledsoe also came in and saved the day the second half of that AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh when they beat the Rams.
And Brady went down with an ankle injury.
So...
I'm
thinking 90% Belichick just because Brady's responsible for the quarterback position. Belichick is responsible for everything else.
All right. I like that. That was a fun little second segment, if I may say so myself. That's going to do it for this second segment. Coming up in the third segment, it's time to talk about Super Bowl 53. We're going to talk about who has the edge in multiple categories. And, of course, we're going to have our prediction on deck for Super Bowl 53. Stick around. We're not done yet. Gameball Info Endzone. We'll be back in a moment.
# everything we got.
Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Now in the third segment, it is time to talk about Super Bowl number 53 between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. First thing we're going to discuss in multiple categories, we're going to talk about who has the edge between these two teams. We're going to start with the offense. Luke, I'm going to swing this one to you. Who do you think has the edge offensively between the Rams and the Patriots?
I think the Rams have the edge at 10 different positions, and the Patriots got the edge at quarterback. So, Brandon Cooks, oddly enough, was playing for the Patriots last year in the Super Bowl. So, my opinion, I think he's better than any receiver the Colts have, or the Patriots have. I think Gurley is Gurley might be the best back in the league, all things being equal. So no knocking the Patriot running backs there. They had a solid offensive line all year. No Cooper Kupp could come back to hurt the Rams in this one, though, because I think Kansas City could have got Kelsey more involved yesterday. And without Cooper Kupp in there for the Rams, that could have, you look at the games that the Patriots lost this year, the tight end had a big factor for them in all 5 of their losses. So that could be cost right there. But the Rams, I think, are more balanced top to bottom. I think they're better at 10 different positions. But the Patriots got Tom Brady, so I'm not sure who I was going to say is better, but probably the Patriots.
Well, yeah, if you really think about it, methodically, I'll say the Rams have the offense because you have not only Todd Gurley, you have C.J. Anderson, and who played most for Todd Gurley when he didn't really play yesterday. And the offense was just kept going, and Jared Goff made some impressive throws that need to be made and all that. Their offense is a little more talent, but the Patriots are more smarter offensively. So if I have to give the edge offensive-wise, through talent-wise, I give the edge to the Rams, but smart-wise, I give the edge to the Patriots because as you've seen what they did against the Chiefs Sunday night, they did everything they did to win this game except for 2 interceptions by Tom Brady, and one of them wasn't his fault because Julian Edelman hit the ball. Sorensen was there to make the play, so that's how I'm gonna break it down. Overall, I'll give the slight edge to the Rams, but the smarts to the Patriots.
I agree with the both of y'all because the Rams are another team like the Kansas City Chiefs that can put up points. They can score, and they have a good quarterback. And I'm happy to see Jared Goff is finally getting his credit. We talked about him last year, and we were bragging about him a year ago before the exciting game against the Chiefs and so forth. You can also get an edge because, like I said, we said this already, but when you have Tom Brady, anything is possible. I mean, we could grab 5 people off the streets and Tom Brady can make them better. I mean, that is what it is. I agree, talent-wise. I'll probably have to say who has the edge offensively is just the experience of Tom Brady. So, I'm going to go with the Patriots just because of that. This is not his first go-around. He knows what it takes to win a championship. I'm going to start with you, Mike, on this one. Defensively, who has the edge between these two teams?
I'll have to give it to the Rams because they have Aaron Donald and Dominic Sue's come to life, but is he going to come alive at the Super Bowl? We don't know, and they made enough plays defensively to win that game. Also, they forced that interception because Dante Fowler got pressure on Drew Brees to where Drew Brees was holding the ball a little bit too longer. If Drew Brees would have threw it just a little earlier, it would have been interception because of that rupture right here to where he hit him in his arms and it was up in the air. Interception was for grabs, and the offense just did its thing, marched to the field goal range and kicked the winning field goal. So, and the Patriots, they play phenomenal against the Chiefs offense, but except for the second half. So if I have to give, and they'll be prepared for it as we'll talk about it on the part of the segment. So if I have to get the edge, talented-wise, defensively, I'll give it to the Rams.
Do you agree, or do you see things different?
Yeah, talent-wise, the Rams, as far as just the overall 53-man roster is constructed, the Rams are a superior team, talent-wise alone. But they don't necessarily have the edge at every single position, and we don't know. I mean, then coaching comes in, whatever else, and they're going to the third Super Bowl in a row as well. Certainly not wanting to lose back-to-back. I mean, you certainly don't want to lose at any point early. But, the Rams, you look at them, I mean, C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley's a nice 1-2 punch in the backfield there. He touched on Sue and Donald, and they have some pretty good defensive backs. Marcus Peters has had a little bit of a rough second half of the season for him. Seems to have come alive back again in the playoffs there. Talib is back healthy again. Special teams kind of hit and miss, but old Zierlein doesn't miss, does he? I mean, my goodness gracious. He's got unlimited range, and he does not miss. So, slight issue to the Rams on special teams, too. But
I agree. I have to say, defensively, I might have to say the Rams because the Patriots have not. Their defense this year has not been consistent. I mean, they haven't really impressed me like they have in the past. I have to get to the Rams. Running backs, though, this is actually going to be an interesting one. Luke, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think has the edge at the running back position?
C.J. Anderson changes everything for the Rams. He changes everything for them. So, another reason why I like the Rams offense is, there was 3 different times this year the Patriots only scored 10 points. Now, granted, 2 of those against the Lions and against the Titans, he's going against Patricia and Vrabel. So, may have been some head games going on there as well. But that Rams offense, I'm not sure what their low total for the year was. I don't think they ever scored as low as 10 points, so the Patriots did it 3 times over.
Well, the Rams may have a better talented running back, but I'm going to go with the Patriots, and here's why. You have the 3-down running back in Sony Michel, who has come and play ball at the right time in the playoffs. You see what he did against the Chiefs. He was wearing them down. And also, James White, not only the running game, but he's most deadly in the passing game because he's a pass-catchy running back who knows where to be at certain times. And Tom Brady trusts him, especially on the screen game, too. So, in the screen game, what he does is he chips off the blitzer and he sneaks out and catches the ball and takes it for a big game. James White, to me, is the most important player for the Patriots running back. Sony Michel, yes, you want the ground and pound, and he's also coming along as a pass catcher, too. Once he comes out of that, he'll be a good running back. But James White, he is that it factor for the Patriots offense. We saw it in Super Bowl against the Falcons. He was a major part why the Patriots had a comeback win for 25 points. We saw that against the Chargers a week ago where he just torched them offensively in the running game and as well as the passing game. He tied your boy Darius Sproles for a pass-catching record. And we saw what he did on the first 12 plays for the Patriots offense. Running, catching, protecting Tom Brady in the passing game. It's just they may not have talent-wise. Belichick wants smart players to be at certain positions at certain times. I'll take smart players over talent because you know your role and you know how to do it well. You're not selfish. And that's the good thing about the Patriots running backs. They're not selfish. You also got to give Rex Burkhead some credit, too. He balled out for many carries that he has offensively in the passing game as well as the running game with those 2 critical touchdowns. If you mean to tell me you think Rex Burkhead would score 2 touchdowns to give the Patriots victory, I would have laughed at you. But it just comes to show you the smarts of the Patriots running backs, and they are unselfish. I would take that any day over talent.
All right. Quarterbacks. I'm gonna say running backs real quick too. I think it's kind of 50-50, honestly, because we know that the 2-headed monster with the Rams is something in itself. Michelle's definitely proved itself at the right time, like you mentioned. I think it's 50-50. Quarterbacks, Luke, I'm gonna start with you. Who has the edge?
Brady over everybody.
Unanimous decision, no discussion.
I'm not gonna argue with that either.
I don't have nothing. I'm gonna say this: Jared Goff, he's an upcoming, but you going up against the Bruce Lee of the NFL, which is Tom Brady, who like studies martial arts of the NFL to another level, to where I don't know what the hell it is, but he's still doing it for a reason, and that's why he's in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's up here, everybody else is down here taking a back seat. And people just like, when is he going to retire? When is he going to retire? Stop, this, and that. And he keeps proving you wrong. And Tom Brady is that dude. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks, and especially you compare from Montana to Marino, Elway, Troy Aikman. I'd rather have Tom Brady over all of them, because Tom Brady knows what time it is. He knows, like, okay, it's go time. And they use this word very well in the Patriots sideline, laser focus. Once Tom Brady's laser focus is on, you know that dog is going to come out in him at any time. That fire, that poise, that energy you want. And he's only 41 years old, going to his 8th Super Bowl. How many 41-year-olds you ever heard going to 8 or 9 Super Bowls?
Or works out to many men by 50 Cent. I just had to throw that.
Hey, whatever motivation you got to use, 50 Cent, Tupac, he did use some of Diddy Bad Boy for like, we ain't. Nah, I ain't going to get to there. But Brady, all day. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. I mean, I like your points, but I mean, it's almost like the Michael Jordan debate and who's greater between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. And it's something that we'll never really know because of different eras. I mean, we can compare Tom Brady to Dan Marino and Joe Montana. In a lot of ways, I feel like that's not fair, because what if, how would they be in today's game? How would Tom Brady play in yesterday's game? Would he be as good then? But if he battled against Montana, if he battled against Aikman, if he battled against Steve Young,
I hear what you're saying, but in a hard salary cap modern era, you have to give it to Tom Brady, because back then, salary cap was more flexible than what it is now. You could have Jerry Rice. You could have another receiver and all that other stuff. You could have a good tight end and other players as well. Eric Craig and the crew. But in a hard salary cap era of the NFL for 20 plus years, and Tom Brady has always taken less. He's not worried about money. He's like, I want to win championships. Money's going to be there for the rest of my life. Super Bowls is going to be there. Whereas when I'm gone, dead, Super Bowls is still going to be in my legacy. So Tom Brady over everything.
Doesn't hurt when you got Giselle making that money too.
I'm just saying. Wow,
No, it's kind of now or never for at least Jared Goff anyway, because only 3 quarterbacks have ever lost their initial Super Bowl appearance and they eventually won one. So Len Dawson lost Super Bowl 1, won Super Bowl 4. Brian Griese lost Super Bowl 7, lost Super Bowl 6. Dolphins went undefeated in Super Bowl 7. They only lost 2 games. The year they won Super Bowl 8. And then the immortal John Elway, who started 0-3 in the Super Bowl before going back-to-back. So, Kaepernick, he got there the one time. He lost. He's out of the league now. Cam Newton got there 2-3 years later. They lost. Looks like his window's closed on him.
And Russell Wilson, you can't forget. Well, he's won one, lost one.
No, Russell Wilson doesn't fall into that category. He beat the Broncos his first, second year in the league there. He got up to that 1-0 start.
Right.
So that doesn't fit the narrative.
I would just say then that one, when you lose the Super Bowl, you won the Super Bowl. That's what I was talking about. You said
in that case, Russell Wilson been more compared to Brett Favre, who went back-to-back, won the first one, lost the next year to Denver, and never made it back. That's where I compared Russell Wilson to, Super Bowl-wise. But again, only 3 quarterbacks have ever lost their first Super Bowl appearance and eventually won one. So Billy Kilmer, he was opposite Griese in Super Bowl 7, never made it back. Craig Morton lost Super Bowl 5 for the Cowboys, was back against the Cowboys for the Broncos in Super Bowl 12. Lost that one. Fran Tarkenton lost Super Bowl 8 to the Dolphins. Then he lost Super Bowl 9, then Super Bowl 11. You lose your first trip to the Super Bowl, you're probably not going to win one at the quarterback position. So the weight of the world really is on Jared Goff's shoulders, because they lose They probably won't be back, not with him. Or they probably won't win one with him. There's always a possibility he can get back. But Dawson, Greasy, Elway, those are the only 3 quarterbacks that start their Super Bowls 0-1 and still call themselves Super Bowl champion. Jim Kelly, 0-4.
Yeah.
Never could quite break through. Scott Noel misses the kick. They lose 3 more after that. So...
Yeah, that's
So if the Rams don't break through here, I wouldn't be thinking about, hey, maybe next year. I mean, it's now or never for Jared Goff, really.
And you got to think about teams bouncing back like the Bears, if the Saints return. So I mean, there's a lot of different things I can tie into that, but that's actually an interesting stat because I never would have thought about that either. So we'll see what happens. Last but not least, Mike, I'm gonna swing this your way. Pretty sure we know your answer. I'm pretty sure we're probably also going to agree with that, but coaching edge.
Belichick. All right, nothing against Sean McVay, but you're going against the Grand Master, the Grand Wizard, the master for all masters up here in the NFL to where everybody else is down here. And he's been doing it for a long time. And Belichick always finds creative ways to put his team in positions to win. So it's not even close. So, and plus, like people said before, if you give Belichick 2 weeks to prepare, it's unfair. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Nick Saban. If you give him except for this year, but years past, but if you give Belichick or Saban 2 weeks to prepare, it's an unfair advantage because Belichick is going to focus on your weakness and he's going to attack it to the full max. What he did with orchestrate with the Patriots offense and find the Chiefs' weakness, he attacked it. He was like, we're not going away from it. We're just going to keep going, keep trucking, ground and pound. And that eventually wore out the Chiefs. And defensively, the second half, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to come back. You can't stop it. Like, it's Patrick Mahomes. What can I do? He's going to score his points. It's Patrick Mahomes. But in the first half, the way he contained Patrick Mahomes was phenomenal. He's like, I'm going to do a zero cover blitz and have a safety back up far. I'm going to blitz you. I'm going to make you beat us with your arm. And that's exactly. They shut down the running game, shut down Tyreek Hill, shut down Travis Kelce on top of that. If that doesn't say nothing else, I don't know what it is. So Belichick up here, the Grandmaster, Grand Wizard, the Shaolin Temple Master, wherever you want to call it, everybody else is down here.
All right, do you agree with that?
Well, I'm going to go Sean McVay in this one. You know why?
Ooh, okay.
He's younger than all 3 of us. And he's head coaching his team in the Super Bowl. So dude's 32 years old, has his team in the Super Bowl. What are we doing? I mean, we're winning, but I mean, if we're winning, then he's doing something other than winning. I don't know what it is. Like whatever above winning is, that's what he's doing. So I'm going to go Sean McVay on this one because he's younger than all 3 of us.
He's living his best life.
I didn't have a team in the Super Bowl when I was 32. Just saying.
I mean, I'm going to go Belichick because, I mean, he's been there and done this so many times. I mean, you can't take away from the fact that he can turn dust into gold. And, I mean, he can bring the best out of anybody. And not to take away anything from McVay because he's turned around a franchise that was hurting. Of course, they relocated from St. Louis. We can go on. And they weren't necessarily welcomed with open arms when they were introduced in L.A. to begin with. And now, overnight, you have a team that's in L.A., in the Super Bowl. But, I mean, I have to give the edge to Belichick because of the number of championships. This is not his first go-around. It's exciting to see a young coach go against Belichick. It would be huge if he does beat Bill Belichick. And we're going to talk about predictions here in a second. So there's a lot riding for both of these teams. And I actually have a question to ask both of y'all after this fact. Actually, I'm going to ask it now. If the Patriots lose back-to-back games, do you see them going back to a Super Bowl?
There are possibility, the division that they're in, and as long as you have Belichick and Brady, they ain't going nowhere anytime soon until they retire. It's still going to be the Belichick and Brady show until otherwise.
You look at the AFC South and the AFC North. I mean, especially with the Browns coming on like they did this past year, they're only going to get better too. Those teams tend to suffer more divisional losses than the Patriots do. So, I mean, like, I don't know what the Ravens' divisional record was this past year, but, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think they went 3-3.
Yeah.
The 1 year where Castle had Kansas City in the playoffs, they actually went 2-4 in the AFC West that year. Oddly enough, the Raiders went 6-0, finished the season 8-8, and missed the playoffs. Don't ever change, Oakland. Don't ever change. But I mean, I do think Kansas City's going to. I think the Chargers are going to regress. I think Kansas City is going to only get better. So I think we're going to have at least an AFC Championship rematch. And like I said earlier, they will play in the regular season. And I think the winner, it didn't happen this past year because the Chiefs won regular season, still had to go to Kansas City. But I believe the regular season winner next year will have home field advantage. So going to be a big regular season game, going to be a big AFC Championship game. Should it come to that, upsets do happen, of course. But basically, I think only the Chiefs can stop them.
I would agree.
The Dolphins can't, the Jets can't, the Bills can't.
Goodness, no. Yeah.
So,
And whose fault is that? You can't say nobody's fault.
All right, gentlemen. With this being said, it is time to make your official Super Bowl predictions. This is your story, and you're sticking to it for 2 weeks.
Let's talk
Luke.
matchups.
Oh, yeah. Let's actually talk about the match before we go to predictions. We'll go ahead and break this down. Luke, I'm going to start with you first. What do you think about this matchup with the Rams and the Patriots?
It's
Attention library.
Gonna be
The time
just-
is 8:30 and the library is closing at 9 p.m. We ask any patron needing a library card to come to the accounts desk immediately, since we will stop issuing.
And thank you to the Lawrence Public Library also for
Any children
being gracious hosts and allowing us to shoot this show here, and then also the support that they've shown us as well. So definitely give them a ton of credit. Of course, about to the announcements, but yeah, if you've never been to the Lawrence Library, you should definitely come.
As far as the matchups go, I mean, the Patriots, they're not fooling anybody. I mean, Tony Romo knew everything he was going to do before pretty much every play in the fourth quarter yesterday, which has been greatly documented by several articles following. So, I mean, the Patriots don't have a deep threat. Brady really doesn't have a big arm. They know they're going to hit the seams and throw underneath. They know they're going to check down to the running backs. But can they stop it? Kansas City couldn't do it. Chargers couldn't do it. The AFC East couldn't do it. But, so, there's not a lot of tomfoolery that's going to be going on there. It's, basically, the Chiefs, what the Patriots really did well against the Chiefs was time of possession. So, we look at the other side of the ball there. C.J. Anderson making all the difference. Todd Gurley, I believe he only had 13 yards against the Saints. We saw him riding a bike a lot of the second half there. I believe he'd been kind of in and out. I believe he missed the last 2 regular season games due to injury anyway. He's not 100%, so C.J. Anderson changing everything there. I think basically turnovers and time of possession, whatever team can win those 2 departments, I think will win the game.
Well, for the Patriots to win, they just keep doing what they're doing offensively. And the reason why I like the Patriots offense so much in one position does not get enough credit, they still use a fullback. Fullbacks are a key component to offense success, and now we're starting to see NFL work pass happy offense where the Patriots, they're sticking to old school. Fullbacks, lives matter. And fullbacks will do most of the dirty work,
right?
If not all the dirty work, besides the offensive line and all that other stuff. Think about it with the San Francisco 49ers in the 80s. Would their offense succeed without a fullback? No. Would the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s? Would their offense succeed without a fullback? No. With the Patriots, they stay true to their offense. We're going to play old school smash mouth football. Our offensive line is going to beat up your defensive line with a fullback wham up to the middle seam and get the running back open. And the Patriots can do that and watch creativity come in, because what the Patriots offense do is they put in place that something that happened 10 years ago and incorporated for the right time. So be lookout for that, because they don't run the same stuff every week. Everything's trash. And like in 11 o'clock Sunday morning, they came up with 11 plays and ran 6 of them and got all 6 right. That comes to show you the coaching and changing all that other stuff. And defensively, if Patriots can do what they do defensively, the regular season, that's their preseason. This is Patriot football, and right now the Patriots are playing. But despite the 31 points that was given up, they're playing some of the best defense of the season. Is in the playoffs. They're playing physical. They shut out Allen and Williams and the Chargers. They shut out Kelsey and Hill. If you shut out 2 primary targets in 2 games, you're doing something right on defense. So if the Patriots can do that, then they'll win. It's going to take the Rams to do something crazy and unorthodox to win that game. And Wade Phillips is going to have to come something creative defensively. So it comes down to who can make the most plays at the end, offensively and defensively, to win the game.
All right, the Rams and the Patriots. Now it is time for the predictions part of the episode. Luke, I'm going to start with you first. Who do you got?
Well, the Patriots are going to their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. They are the first team to go to 3 in a row since the Buffalo Bills went to 4 in a row. Fun fact, Kansas City was in the AFC Championship game for the first time in 25 years when they lost to Buffalo, who would go to their 4th consecutive Super Bowl. Buffalo still hasn't been back to the AFC Championship game since then. So the Chiefs, despite a 25-year wait, still made it back before Buffalo did. But the point I'm trying to highlight here is that for Buffalo, they always had to go against experience. Like, it was Super Bowl 25, they played the Giants. Well, the Giants won Super Bowl 21. They played the Bills in the regular season. They lost 17-13. So there was familiarity. You had guys like Lawrence Taylor and Bill Parcells that had won the Super Bowl recently. The following year against the Redskins, they were winning their 3rd Super Bowl under Joe Gibbs with their 3rd different quarterback. They was in Super Bowl 22. They routed the Broncos. They still had some guys on that team, a lot of offensive linemen and whatever else. And then, of course, they played the Cowboys, back to back.
Twice, yeah.
So, now that first Cowboys game that they played, the Cowboys hadn't been there in 14 years, but they were just such a superior team. So, point I'm trying to make is that, the Rams, they haven't been back to the Super Bowl since the last time they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, it's a regular season game for the Patriots. Like, it really is. It really, they're the only team in the league that can go to the Super Bowl and prep for a regular season game. And that's why I think the Patriots will win. So even though I like the Rams roster better, even though I think Sean McVay is doing more at 32 than we could ever dream, and even Belichick wasn't as good a coach at 32. Come on, guys, he was. But that said, I like the Patriots to win. I think the Patriots get number 6 for Brady.
What's your score?
30-23.
Of course, I'm going with the Patriots because I feel like after what happened last year in the Super Bowl, they're trying to make their amends what happened, especially that Malcolm Butler benching that caused the uproar. It turns out Belichick was right because what was he doing for the Tennessee Titans? Exactly. Why you think he's signed Stephon Gilmore to a big money contract over Malcolm Butler? Because Stephon Gilmore is balling out. Then you got the rookie, J.C. Jackson. Even though you had some questionable holding calls, whatever, against him, he's playing ball out for an undrafted rookie. Where does Belichick find these undrafted rookies to ball out? I mean, come on. And Tom Brady, I ain't never seen him this mad before. When you talk about a back against the wall, I mean, they say they were going to lose against the Chargers. They proved them wrong. They was going to lose in Arrowhead, the toughest place to play NFL. They came out on top. Keep betting against the Patriots and Tom Brady. They're going to come out swinging, and they're going to be mentally and physically ready because it's their time. And I feel like they're trying to make their amends from last year, all that off-season distraction and all that. And here's a fun fact part. The Patriots are fully healthy on both sides of the ball. When have you heard the Patriots are fully healthy? If you're fully healthy, it's been a minute. If you're fully healthy on both sides of the ball, you cannot be stopped. You cannot be stopped. And that gives them 2 weeks to rest and prepare. And DJ Rice didn't play both playoff games on the defensive side, so more likely he's coming back to the game dealing with an ankle issue. So I'm going to say Patriots win their 6-1, and Tom Brady is going to get his 6th Super Bowl and probably 5th MVP. I don't know who. I don't care. It's going to come down to the last play. Who's going to execute it better? And I think the Patriots going to look over tape, because if D4 wants an offside, that'll be a game over. So they'll look over film and study whatever from the goods and the bads and do's and don'ts. And I feel like Belichick is going to put them to be success and win another championship. And they're playing with the underdog mentality. And I see that underdog mentality going against them. And I checked that earlier. The Rams, I think, were 1.5 favorites in the Super Bowl. So that's going to bring out more of the underdog for the Patriots. Like, okay, bet against us, because they're playing it's us against the world mentality. And they did like a rating, 54% said the Rams is going to win the Super Bowl. So they're going to use more motivation. Tom Brady's probably going to do another Instagram post on the treadmill, get his teams riled up, whatever. I don't know. So I feel like the Patriots passed their hardest test. That was in Arrowhead. And the Rams is second to none. I feel like the Patriots won their Super Bowl in Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. Absolutely. If you understand why I'm making sense. So I feel like they're not going. I know they're not going to overlook the Rams, but I feel like the Rams is second to none to the Patriots. So I'm gonna say Patriots win 30-20. Tom Brady gets the 6th Lombardi Trophy. So it's Belichick, best coach quarterback dude of all time. Robert Kraft gets his 6th owner championship trophy as an owner. So Patriots 30-20 to win the Super Bowl 53.
I'm gonna point this out. It's gonna be interesting to see, because they have 2 weeks to prepare for this. What are the Rams defensively? What did they learn from the Chiefs? Because Tom Brady, he had a great game, but once again, it's another opportunity in which, you notice this multiple times during the season, Tom Brady is starting to show signs that he's vulnerable. And he did get exposed by the Kansas City Chiefs. He could have had 3 picks in that game. And one of those picks could have actually cost him a trip to go to Atlanta to play the Chargers. Or excuse me, not the Chargers, but the Rams. If I'm Donald and company, what did the Chiefs do? Because the Chiefs many times did come up with excellent stops to stop Tom Brady. Talk about a 4th and 1 in the 4th quarter that basically held on, or not held on to the game, but kept them in the game. A goal line interception. A pick that actually should have happened. This offense is a lot more vulnerable than what people are actually giving them credit for, and so is their defense. I like the Patriots to win this game, but it's going to come down to me to the defense more than the offense, I think, for both of these teams, because the Rams can score. But I'm saying it, and I said this with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Colts. How did the Texans shut out Andrew Luck in the second half? You saw that's how the Chiefs played Andrew Luck. I said the defense, how would they learn from what the Chargers did to only hold the Patriots to 6 points in the second half? Did they necessarily do that? No. The Chiefs' defense is still kind of suspect. I think the Rams' defense is better than Kansas City's for the time being.
I didn't mean to.
No, you go ahead.
But it's easier to say it than done. Can you actually do it like he brought it up? Can you actually execute it? That's the problem. Can you do it?
It's can you capitalize?
That's what I'm saying.
Can you capitalize?
That's what he brought up. Can you capitalize it? And the answer is, for those teams that you mentioned, the Chargers and the Chiefs, they couldn't do it.
Ball doesn't lie, but I would say the Patriots, because of the experience. This is Sean McVay's first chance. I just think that you're going against a team that's been there and done that, a quarterback that's been there and done that.
And plus, how will you handle the pressure during the Super Bowl media and all this other stuff? And the Patriots are prepared for it, but for the Rams, most of their players have never been to Super Bowl. So how do you handle with curfew? How do you handle staying out of trouble? And Talib is the only player on that roster that's been to the Super Bowl. He was with the Broncos. So that, and when you say experience, that matters.
It does matter. All right, so all three unanimous Patriots. I'm gonna say the Patriots are gonna score. I'm gonna say 38 points. I'm gonna say 38-27. I think it's gonna be a high score. It's gonna be a fun game, but I think the Patriots will break away in the second half. I don't think this is an overtime game.
Like I was saying, I feel like the Patriots already passed their biggest test, which was an error.
I was actually thinking that when you mentioned that, you actually kind of took the words out of my mouth because I actually agree with that. I think it was a harder challenge. I think it won't. It'll be a good game.
I think the Rams will pose a challenge, but not like the Chiefs posed a challenge. This ain't Patrick Mahomes that can escape the pocket and make plays. This is Jared Goff. And I feel like they'll take more advantage of that.
And not to take away from Goff.
Not to take anything away from Goff, but he's not Patrick Mahomes' level. Just put it that way.
All right, so agreed, unanimous Patriots?
Unanimous.
All right, Tom Brady, we say collects number 6. Number 6. If he gets this. He's going to be able to pull off the Jordan if he does it. Just saying. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Gameball NFL Endzone.
Facebook, you can follow us on Gameball College Kickoff / Gameball NFL Endzone. Send us an email, feedbacks, anything on our email at gck.gnfle@gmail.com. You can follow us on our official Twitter page at gck_gnfle. You can follow your boy on Twitter, all capitalized Gameball_Mike MYKE. You can also follow us on our Instagram at gck_gnfle. And you can also get our clothing line on our clothing line websites, hoodies, fitness gear, shirts, whatever, at tokendesigns.topeka.com/gameball. That's TOKAN designs.topeka.com/gameball. That's token, not toucan, folks. Like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, get a thumbs down on our YouTube channel, vice versa. My left to your right, my right to your left, whatever. Hit that subscribe button at gck.gnfltv. Once you hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button. Get more updates on our postage, and I'm gonna pass it on to my brother right here.
I'm gonna point this out. When you talk about your where to find your social media, you should consider writing a rap about that. Like the way that he says it, you can find me on. I'm just saying. It actually, I mean, it's almost like you sound like you should actually do a little flow with it. I think it actually we go kind of hard, but
I might try. You never know.
But yeah, definitely Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Jovell Entertainment. That's JOVELLE Entertainment. Also, any inquiries from us, Gameball NFL Endzone and College Kickoff, music, JovellEntertainment@gmail.com. The Jovell Entertainment website is also in the works as well. Shout out once again, catch out the single from my artist Seb the Haitian, his single Vibe out now. Catch out new work from Sin City coming soon. And I'll send it over to Luke.
Find me on Facebook at Luke Hartnett. I'm also on Instagram at Luke Hartnett as well. I'm going to take some time during this upcoming football off season to try to delve a little bit more into the Instagram phase. I have an account. I don't have a whole lot of a lot of profile on there though. But Facebook and Instagram at Luke Hartnett. Twitter at Luke Hartnett 2.
I'm Michael Riley.
Marcus Young Genius Jenkins.
I'm Luke Hartnett, kicking it undercover with my brothers from Under Brothers.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This is Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out, and we'll do a recap after the Super Bowl. So see you in a couple weeks. Until then, we are Allie, and we love everybody. Thank you for supporting us. Peace out. Until then.
Salute.